There are three things that made me really happy today. First, I went out last night and bought a kitten. It took me years to convince my wife to let me get another kitten. And this kitten, oh man, I'm just so happy. I'll show you all some photos in a bit. I was rubbing its belly, and it was so happy that its throat. The sound it made was just pure contentment. This kitten can't walk yet. As long as you hold the cat, it'll run away. No one. But this kitten is completely dependent on me. I really need to be loved by others. This kitten and Shu Dong Dong both love me very much. This little cat is called Missile. I gave her an English name because she's not my son. She's my granddaughter. She's a girl. Second, Nvidia has broken through $170. I'm very happy about that. Just 3 weeks ago, it was only a bit over $130. I sent out an urgent message telling my 500,000 Patreon followers to buy it. Third, it seems like Trump is going to sanction Russia. If he really does impose sanctions, I will definitely clear his name. He doesn't have any dirt held over him by Russia. I'll take back some of the negative things I've said about him. And also, if he helps Ukraine, I'll thank him for that. On the 14th, Trump, at the White House, met with NATO Secretary General Ruda. He set a deadline. Today is the 10-something th, so 50 days later, everyone count it. 50 days later, it'll be around September 1st or 2nd. If there's no peace agreement, there will be severe sanctions, including on countries that buy Russian oil. With secondary tariff sanctions, 100%. 100%. That means, if this is actually enforced, there's only one outcome, which is that these countries, will they keep buying despite the US's warning? Not afraid of the US slapping a 100% tariff on them. For countries like India, that's impossible. They can't resist it. If they buy just a little oil, they'll just get it from the Middle East. As for China, to support Russia, would they really bow to the US in front of the whole world? That's the first point. Second point, does the US dare to slap another 100% tariff on China? Because if they add another 100% tariff, right now China is at 55%. 155% means no business. Chinese goods would completely disappear from the US market, and then China could immediately stop exporting rare earths. Could the US handle that? Is China afraid of the US? That's the real question now. Let's take a look. In June, Russia's fossil fuel revenue hit its lowest level since the invasion began. Can they still hold on? If that gets cut off, Russia's economy would collapse. If China also stops buying, who could buy the most then? Let me tell you all. China, India, and Turkey are the biggest buyers. China spends so much money buying. Over $5 billion US. India, Turkey, the EU is still buying a little bit. Brazil. So the issue lies with these 5 countries, which include, at the top, coal, LNG, natural gas, then petroleum byproducts, crude oil. As for the EU, they can go down with you. Because anyway, but these 3 countries are a big problem. Turkey and India absolutely wouldn't dare. Absolutely wouldn't dare. As for China, I don't know. So this is, who's buying from China? In Europe, who's buying Chinese goods? Hungary. This one should be kicked out of the group. Belgium is just buying LNG. This needs to be switched. It just so happens it can be switched to Canada. Canada's first LNG ship. Liquefied natural gas, exported from Canada. They built a port. France is also buying natural gas. Europe. Actually, the one really buying is Hungary. To Slovakia. The Netherlands has a little bit of natural gas. And it's just a small amount of money. This is just over 500 million. Everyone, take a look. That's all there is for the EU. Who's buying Russian oil? After the sanctions, let's take a look at this first. China, India, China, India, Turkey. The EU is out. Crude oil, China, India. The EU has a little bit. So this is Hungary and Slovakia, Turkey, Myanmar, LNG. The EU has to buy its LNG. Then comes China, Japan. These are the refined products. Oil products. Turkey buys its refined oil products. China, Brazil, India, places like Singapore. These countries don't dare to buy. Natural gas is different because it's transported by pipeline. So it's much more convenient to ship. The EU, China. China has a natural gas pipeline in Siberia. Turkey, Moldova, Serbia. If there are 50 days until the beginning of September, and a peace agreement can't be reached, then sanctions will be imposed on Russia immediately. This will be a fatal blow to Russia. Russia will have to face this problem. To be or not to be? That is the question. Do you dare or not? Do you believe Trump would really do this? Second, promise the first phase to provide Patriot air defense systems through NATO and other advanced weapons, $10 billion to Ukraine. Right now, they won't give the money because they need to reduce the deficit now. So it's the European countries and the US that are buying. Why is NATO the one buying? Let me explain it to you. Why not just sell directly to the European countries? Because when the US sells advanced weapons to NATO, it doesn't need congressional approval. There's a threat here besides the Patriot missiles, which I'm actually quite happy about. ATACMS. These long-range missiles. These are surface-to-surface missiles. ATACMS, which include offensive weapons and can further strike targets inside Russia, even reach Moscow. This is a form of intimidation. Trump is ramping up military aid to Ukraine with Patriot missiles. They talk on the phone during the day, calling each other brother. But at night, there are air raids. To your face, they call you brother, but behind your back, they're pulling out weapons, getting ready to stab you. NATO allies have already agreed to buy the US Patriot system and transfer it along with other military equipment to Ukraine. They're just providing the weapons for production, with Europe footing the bill. Participating countries include Germany, Finland, Canada, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, the UK, and the Netherlands. They're all chipping in together. In some cases, when it's urgent, countries take from their own arsenals and send it to Ukraine first, then buy new weapons from the US to replenish their stock. This includes long-range missiles capable of striking deep into Russian territory. ATACMS. This is deadly. This is a lethal weapon because it's highly accurate. This idea of Europe funding and transferring arms to Ukraine was actually proposed by Zelensky at the NATO summit 2 weeks ago. The whole thing is meant to give Trump a way out. Starting this year, the EU has launched Rearm Europe. With a budget of 800 billion euros, part of that is earmarked to provide funds to Ukraine to enhance military and defense capabilities. The UK isn't part of the EU, but it's also spending £16 billion to buy 5,000 air defense missiles for Ukraine. This is the EU's overall plan, and Germany itself has allocated several hundred billion more. That's basically how it is. 650 billion over the next 4 years. This 650 billion, the EU has a debt ceiling. But when it comes to defense spending, they can take on additional debt. So those countries will definitely borrow more money separately. 650 billion, of which 150 billion is lent to them by the EU. Using the EU's budget to redirect funds into defense-related investments, so that EU countries are incentivized to earn money themselves to help out. And they also need private capital to get involved, plus support from the European Investment Bank. The front lines are basically in a static standoff right now, which is something unprecedented in human history. Because of the drone revolution, both sides have so many drones that it's impossible to conduct positional warfare. The Ukrainian forces keep using drones to launch assaults and to strike the Russian fleet, as well as targeting key sites inside Russia, also launching drone offensives. According to Spain's ABC newspaper on Sunday, the situation in Ukraine has undergone an unprecedented change. So far, there has been a breakthrough event. What exactly happened? For the first time, Russian troops surrendered to a robot and surrendered under the command of a robotic ground platform. The Russians were captured without any human infantry intervention, taken prisoner, and surrendered with their hands up to a drone, and then they were escorted back entirely by unmanned systems. No Ukrainians even went out there. Isn't that hilarious? They all surrendered. For the first time in history, Russian soldiers surrendered during an offensive carried out purely by robotic systems. This robotic unit deployed ground vehicles equipped with explosives to attack Russia's fortified positions. Now it's all being fought with drones. According to the BBC, Russia has greatly increased its use of drones and missiles in attacks. There was a slight decrease in attacks in March, but a significant rise in May. In June, they hit a new monthly record. Russia wants to win in the end. With this major summer offensive, over 5,000 units. In the first 9 days of July, there were already 2,000 units. As Russia speeds up drone production, soon it could be 1,000 in a single night. It's already reached over 700. This is non-stop. But I noticed that their missile attacks have decreased. Meanwhile, Ukraine has managed to get some long-range drones to strike strategic targets deep inside Russian territory, like ammunition depots, Air Force bases, and so on. According to the Wall Street Journal, drones have taken over reconnaissance and mapping on the front lines. It's useless. Before you leave, the drone will know. Drone knows. It uses suicide drones to hit you. Before you can't hit anyone. Suicide drones will hit you. The two sides are in a drone war. Make everyone on the front line unable to move. Drone coverage, reconnaissance, logistics, weapons delivery, all-weather cruising. I know everything. cannot be moved easily. Reorganize or launch a large-scale offensive. Impossible to move. Reorganize or launch a large-scale offensive. They'll immediately send 100 or 200 drones to attack you. The front line has turned into a no man's land. An area. No one dares to go to the front. This is the latest situation, and it makes me very happy.